Imagine this. You've just won a Nobel Prize. Your work is about to change the world. And then, your wife unveils a massive 18-foot statue of you, naked, and, according to you, inaccurate. That's the setup for the 1971 British comedy The Statue, a film that takes one man's existential crisis and turns it into a globe-trotting farce of espionage, scandal, and, well, artistic liberties.
Charlie! Up there in marble on my body!
David Niven plays Professor Alex Bolt, a world-famous linguist whose creation of a universal language called Unispeak
Non-yak-yak.
Meaning no comment.
has made him an international sensation. To celebrate his achievements, the US State Department, through Alex's friend, Ambassador Ray Whiteley, commissions a sculpture of him, crafted by his own wife Rhonda, played by Virna Lisi. It's meant to be a grand tribute, unveiled in London's Grosvenor Square. But when Alex finally sees it, he's mortified.
All right, then use the body, but put somebody else's head on it.
The statue is enormous, classically styled and completely nude. But the real kicker? He insists that its anatomy, or at least one very specific part, doesn't match his own. What starts as mild embarrassment quickly spirals into full-blown paranoia. Alex becomes obsessed with uncovering the identity of the so-called real model, convinced that Rhonda must have used another man as her reference.
In the last 3 years, how much have I seen you? 18 days! 18 days is not enough!
His marriage, already strained by his long absences, goes into freefall as he badgers her for answers. She, in turn, is furious that he cares more about disproving the statue's mystery than about their relationship.
Huh? Forget about the sculpture crap. What the hell are you trying to do, Alex?
What's it a sculpture of?
Well, does it matter?
Meanwhile, Ray, unaware of the statue's unconventional design, continues pushing for its unveiling, setting the stage for a very public disaster. Desperate, Alex turns to his old friend Harry, played by none other than John Cleese, in one of his earlier film roles.
You don't fancy your fair white body being put on public display? Why not?
Because the idea revolts me.
Harry, a psychiatrist turned ad man, suggests an unusual solution: find the real model and prove that the statue is inaccurate, forcing the authorities to block its display.
Might mean I have to track down 4 or 5 different men. I got plenty of time. A good 10 days before that statue is officially unveiled.
And so, Alex embarks on a wildly misguided search, interrogating anyone who might fit the so-called profile. His first suspect? Joachim, a member of his household staff. But when Alex corners him, Joachim completely misunderstands the accusation and attacks him in a fit of rage.
Dicto, Joachim. Et vous?
Unfortunately, word of this confrontation reaches the Portuguese embassy, setting off a bizarre game of international telephone that eventually lands on Ray's desk.
Joachim. That's the second piece of scandal I've heard about. Alex Bolt, I don't like it.
I thought you wouldn't.
Now convinced that Alex is up to something truly scandalous, Ray mobilizes the CIA to spy on him, believing him to be an unhinged liability.
What does the head of the CIA have to offer?
Perhaps we put a tail on Mr. Bolt.
Now she thinks of it.
Oblivious to the growing surveillance operation around him, Alex continues his quest. He tracks potential models in a Turkish bathhouse, only to be thrown out in disgrace. He investigates a series of sculptors, interviews confused bystanders, and grows increasingly desperate as every lead turns up empty. Meanwhile, Ray's agents compile a dossier of his activities, growing more and more convinced that Alex is up to something deeply suspicious. Then, just as Alex starts to accept defeat, Harry encourages him to pursue one last lead.
But when he's the only one you've got left to check, all it means is one flight to Florence.
No more.
An old sculptor in Florence who once mentored Rhonda, but before he can act, Ray takes matters into his own hands. Realizing that the statue's unveiling could spell diplomatic disaster, he orders 2 covert operatives to break into Rhonda's studio under cover of night. Their mission? To saw off the offending section of the statue and make it disappear. By morning, the deed is done.
Yes, I just told you you took it. My husband.
Rhonda, horrified by the desecration, assumes Alex is responsible. When he arrives, eager to reconcile, she furiously accuses him of betrayal.
Oh, I wouldn't do that to anyone.
He protests his innocence, but it's too late. She's convinced that he has defaced her work out of sheer vanity. Determined to clear his name, Alex makes his way to Venice, following the sculptor's cryptic advice to find someone well known in a town square. A frantic chase ensues, with Alex dodging Italian police, tipped off by Ray, until he finally stumbles upon the shocking truth.
Charlie.
The mystery model? Michelangelo's David. Meanwhile, Ray's attempt to dispose of the statue's missing piece goes hilariously wrong. The operatives simply dump it by the roadside, where it is promptly discovered by a group of truant schoolboys. They, in turn, take it straight to their teacher.
Wonder what it is.
feels like some kind of a paperweight.
Setting off yet another scandalous ripple effect. At long last, the Grand Unveiling arrives. The ceremony is packed with officials, press, and an uneasy Alex, waiting for the inevitable disaster. But as the curtain falls, the crowd gasps. Not at what's missing, but at what's been changed. Rhonda has not only restored the statue, but she has also replaced the head. And it's not Alex's, it's Ray's. The statue is an oddity, part screwball farce, part political satire, and part slapstick misadventure. Shot primarily in London, with additional locations in Italy, it boasts an eclectic cast.
It's all become a little, degrading.
David Niven's dry wit carries the film, while Virna Lisi provides both charm and fiery frustration as Rhonda. Robert Vaughn, best known for The Man from U.N.C.L.E., plays Ray,
Damn thing's a mile high and naked as a peeled banana.
with increasing levels of exasperation.
You sound like a stag version of Cinderella.
And John Cleese's deadpan delivery adds a much-needed touch of absurdist humour. Critically, however, the film struggled. Reviews were mixed, with some praising Niven's comedic timing, but others criticising the film's pacing and increasingly outlandish plot. At the box office, it failed to make much of a splash, overshadowed by other comedies of the era. But despite its lukewarm reception, The Statue remains a fascinating relic of early 70s British cinema. It's a film where Nobel Prizes and Cold War paranoia collide with marital drama and ridiculous misunderstandings, all revolving around a single, very unfortunate work of art. A film that asks, how far would you go to protect your dignity? And more importantly, would it even matter in the end?
You were asked to design something to symbolize unitspeak, a new language, not middle-aged Peter Pan looking for the soap.